Hello, everybody. My name is Ali Oruji. I'm the UCF Programming Team Faculty Advisor. I work with the coaches in preparing the students for the various programming competition. The coaches have prepared these slides to share information and everything you need to know about the local contest. Several of the slides are very straightforward and don't need explanation, so I'm not going to spend too much time on those. Of course, you have access to the slides and you read them, and if you have questions, you are more than welcome to contact us. For the local contest, we're going to do it in 3 rounds. The first Saturday in fall, we do what we call a practice contest. The objective of this is to make sure everybody is familiar with how this works. Like if this is your first time, this is a good opportunity to learn how this contest works. The practice round is online, so you just do it from home. We do it in the afternoon of the first Saturday, because some students take foundation exam that Saturday. They take foundation exam in the morning, so we do the practice round in the afternoon. The second Saturday in fall, we do what we call qualifying round. This is online as well, so you just do it from home. The qualifying round, the objective is to select some students to advance to the final round. For final round, university gives us 1 lab, so we have to make sure everybody fits in this lab. That's why we have the qualifying round. The final round will be in person. It is the 3rd Saturday in fall semester, and it is an entire day event. So please plan for an entire day for the final round. And final round again will be in person. Now we have 3 rounds, but you register only 1 time. You do not register 3 times. Here is the website for registering. And when you register, a few days before the practice round, and the coaches will email you your login name and your password and the website you need to go to for the competition. Just to share a little bit about UCF programming team, our students have competed the last 40 years, and they have done extremely well in this contest. They have actually finished top 3 in the region every single year, and no other university has done that. The reason we do well, of course, number 1 is the good students, and they are willing to work hard and put the time and effort needed. But also, we are really fortunate to have a great group of coaches, other professors that coach the team, and some of the former team members who are not eligible to be on the team anymore, they coach the team. So you are in really good hands. The practice round and qualifying round is online, so you don't get to see the coaches in person, but final round, you will meet them in person. We have 6 coaches, Kyle, Glenn, Arup, Chris, Travis, and Tom. And when you add up the contest experience for all these coaches, it adds up to more than 100 years. So they are really expert in this competition. You are in good hands. And they're going to teach you all the algorithms you need to know and all the contest strategies you need to know. So if you are willing to put the time and effort, you're going to excel. And you're going to be a great problem solver and great programmer. Now, the way this contest works, you get a bunch of problems and you can work on them in any order you want, and you get a set amount of time. Different contests, there are anywhere from 2 to 5, 6 hours. For final round, we're going to do the 5-hour one, but the qualifying round, we are doing it shorter, and the practice one, we are doing it shorter than 5 hours. And in this contest, the person that solves the most wins. So if one person solves 8 problems and everybody else solves 7 or fewer, 8 problem wins. But in case several students finish the same number of problems, there is a penalty system for tiebreaker. We're going to explain that in a few slides. So what you can do is you write solutions to problems and you test your solutions. Now, when you read a problem statement, if there are ambiguities, you can ask questions. You ask it through the submission system. Let's say a problem deals with numbers, but it doesn't say it is positive or negative or both. You can ask question through submission system. For each problem, you will have one file. We explain this later on. And you don't really put any prompt in your program. Don't put please type the next number or things like that. Input is from keyboard and output is to screen. The practice round and final round, the practice round and qualifying round, they are online. So you have access to everything that is available online. And for example, Geeks for Geeks, and they have a lot of algorithms and a lot of code. You are welcome to use those. And also, if you've written some programs and you see you can use some of them for your practice round or qualifying round, you can use them. You don't have to type it. Final round is in person. You'll be on campus in a lab. The coaches will provide the language reference manual, but you don't really have access to, say, Geeks for Geeks. And you can bring your books, you can bring your notes for your program. You can bring hard copy, but not the electronic one for the final round. Now, the contest provides or allows specific languages. You'll see it in a few slides. You are limited to those languages. You cannot submit solutions in other languages. And you can ask coaches or judges questions and help, but you don't ask your friends for help. This is an individual contest. Again, the practice round and qualifying round, they are online, so you have access to online resources. Now, for the practice round and qualifying round, since it is online, not in person, if you have questions, now if you have questions about problem statement, you ask for clarification using submission system. You'll see that in a few minutes. This is if you have system issues or difficulty logging in. You can email the coaches, or you can chat with them through Chrome. And also the coaches are planning to have a Zoom meeting set up so they can share a screen and then make it easier to communicate. Now, the way scoring works, again, the person solving the most wins, but there is penalty point for tiebreaker if several people finish the same number of problems. The first point about penalty system, you are not penalized for a problem until you finish it. So if you attempt it and you don't finish it, no penalty points. Of course, you do want to finish it because the #1 criteria is number of problems solved. When you finish a problem, you get 1 penalty point for every minute since the beginning of the contest. So if you finish a problem after 1 hour, you get 60 penalty points. Let's say you finish the next problem 30 minutes after that. So that is 1.5 hours from beginning of the contest. So you get 90 penalty points for the second one. So you have 60 for one, 90 for second. So you have 150 penalty points. Also, if you try a problem several times and get it correct, there is a 20 penalty points for each extra submission. Let's say you submit 5 times, you submit a problem 5 times and you get it right. You have 4 extra submission. That's 4 times 20, 80 penalty points. The contest allows Java, C, C++, and Python. In this slide, the coaches are showing you the simplest environment to use, and they encourage and recommend using those environments. But they are also showing you other environments in case you've used other ones and you feel comfortable with those. The coaches are also showing you what they're gonna use to judge your submissions. A few notes about languages. For C and C++, make sure you put return 0 at the end of your main program. For Java, do not use packages. Every problem will have one file, but don't use packages. It's not really a large system development. This is a test of problem solving skills. So you don't really need several files for one problem and packages and things like that. So please don't use packages. And for Python, the coaches are going to use Python 3. Again, you're going to get a set of problems, and you can work on them in any order you want. For our local contest, the coaches put at the top of each problem, it is easy or medium or hard to help the students. But again, you can work on them any order you want. And you don't have to finish one problem before you start another one. Let's say you work on one and you have an error and you don't see it, you can go to the next one and then come back to the first one later on. So you do not have to finish one before starting another. And the problem statements explain what the problem is. It also shows sample input and sample output to help a student understand the problem. And you need to follow the problem specification, especially with the output. If the output says a capitalize a word, you need to follow that to get the problem correct. Here is a sample problem from last year local. Every problem has a file name at top of the page, like the file name for this problem is odd even. So you you will have a file for your solution for this problem. And let's say you are using C++, so your file would be oddeven.cpp. And let's say there is another problem and the file name is graph, and you decide to do that one in Java, would be graph.java. So you have one file per problem. And for Java, please use lowercase for your class name. It just makes it easier for the judges to judge. So class names are all lowercase. And repeating the main point, a lot of students forget that you read from keyboard and you output to screen. Again, this contest is a test of problem solving skills. We don't really need any GUI stuff. Plain text output will do. Of course, you want to test your solutions before you submit. You will see the submission system in a minute. The sample input is available electronically. So if a problem, the sample input is too long, you don't have to type it. You can just download it from submission system. And read the problem statement and see what kind of data, what kind of input that allows, and make sure you test your program. Now, the judge data will follow problem specification. So you do not need to put extra if statement in your program. If the problem statement says the input is number, you don't have to worry about the letters in the input. And the judges have their own judge data to test your program. The judge data will follow problem specifications. And that is repeating myself, it's an important point. During the contest, you don't see the judge data, but the coaches will share the judge data at the end of the contest. And to make it easier for the coaches to judge your submissions, they do redirect your output so they can go up and down on the screen. This is the submission system. Again, you register for the contest, and a few days before contest, the coaches will send you an email with your login name and password and the website you need to go to. The coaches have developed this system and they have worked on it a few years. It's an extremely good system. This is the first page of the system. You see different options at the top. You can view problem statements. You know, the practice run and qualifying run, they're online. So you can look at the problem statements using this system. Of course, if you want hard copies, you can print it at home. The final round is on campus, so we will make copies for you beside this electronic copy. There is you see the sample data option. So you don't have to type the sample input, you can just download it. When you are comfortable with your solution, you can submit solution. Ask clarification. Again, if a problem statement is not explaining something, you use the submission system to ask clarification on that problem. with the system issues, login issues, we showed you how to contact the coaches. Score, you will see on the next slide. And the final round, the coaches provide the language reference manual, because you can really access like Geeks for Geeks or website explaining the language. For the final round, you can bring your books, you can bring your notes. If you have programs, you can bring hard copies of your program, but not electronic version. This is a sample score from our high school contest. You'll see a similar one in a local contest. It shows who has solved what problem, how long it took them, and how many tries it took them. So it's a very good piece of information if you want to see which problems are solved the most, so you can look at them and work on them. Red means they have attempted it, but they haven't got it correct yet. Light green means they got it correct. Dark green means this person solved this problem first. Now, the last hour of contest, we freeze their score sheet just to have some excitement for the end of the contest. When you submit the last hour, you get a response back, so you know you finished the problem or you need to work on it more. But the score sheet will not show that, so other students would know who has solved what. Again, just to have some excitement for the end of the contest. Now, when you submit, of course, your program needs to compile and needs to execute, shouldn't crash. It needs to produce the correct answer and needs to follow the format. I gave you the example of like, if the problem statement says capitalize this word, you need to follow that. And of course, you need to have all of the output, the complete output. So if the output is supposed to be 10 lines and you have 7 lines and those 7 lines are correct, but the other 3 are missing, you are not done yet. When you submit, you get one of these responses from the judges or coaches. Correct means you are done. Compile time error, you don't usually get this because you compile before you submit. But sometimes a student finish a problem the last minute of the contest and there's no time to compile. They just submit. And there is a good chance there is a parenthesis missing or semicolon missing, so they get compile time error. Runtime error, like division by 0, out of bound array reference. Time limit, for the majority of the problems, a straightforward solution will do. I would say 95% of the problem, straightforward solutions will do. You don't need to make it fancy or efficient. But when you go to a higher level of competitions, sometimes they put a few problems that a straightforward solution may take a couple of hours. The reason we have time limit, sometimes program get into infinite loop and we need to stop it. That's why there is time limit. A wrong answer, if the output is supposed to be 10 and you print 5, and that is wrong. Incorrect output format, I gave you the example that if you're supposed to put a word in uppercase and you don't do that, you're not following the format. Now, contest strategy, the coaches will work with you for the entire year to teach you different algorithms, different strategies to prepare you for the contest. So it's really a 1-year process, and you can't really become expert in 2 minutes or 5 minutes. But just a few bullets the coaches wanted to share with you. Do the easy problems. Again, all the problems are worth the same. So it doesn't matter you do the easiest one, which is 10 lines, or the hardest one, which is 500 lines, you get credit for one problem. Again, at the top of the page, the coaches share it is easy or medium or hard to help you, but just do the easy ones. And keep it simple and make sure you look at all the problems to see which one you are comfortable with, and read the problems carefully. Sometimes if you read the problem too quickly and too fast, you may miss a point that makes a difference to the problem and makes it much harder than it is. So read it carefully and make sure you test your program. A few more points. You have your own computer, so obviously you can use debugger, but be careful when you use debugger. People tend to lose track of time. And make sure you take extra time to understand the problem, and make sure you're approach to the solution will work. If you rush into things, you may come up with the wrong approach and spend an hour or two and then realize it is all messed up. And so it really, it's worth spending extra time and making sure everything is good. And don't be afraid to take a break and spend time away from the terminal. Sometimes when you stare at monitor, you don't see your error. If you look at it on the paper, you see it very easily. And the last point, which is really important, you want to work at your own pace. You are the most productive when you work at your own pace. Don't do faster than you're comfortable with. Now, for the practice round, we use old problems because the results don't count. There's really no reason for the coaches to spend several weeks to write new problems for practice and coming up with the ideas, writing the problem specification, preparing solutions, preparing data. The results don't count. So we use old problems. And what that means is some students have seen these problems and they've already solved them. So they're going to finish them very quickly. Again, the objective is practice. And just try to do a few of them and get comfortable. For the qualifying round and the final round, and the coaches write new problems and new judge data, and nobody has seen them. So it's going to be a fair contest. After the final round, the coaches will invite some students for the team. We usually have varsity team members and junior varsity team members. We usually select anywhere from like 25 to 40. Of course, we do multiple of 3 because for the competition, we go to a team of 3. A local contest, of course, you compete as individual. At any rate, we usually have varsity team members and junior varsity team members. But sometimes, we may need more than 2 groups. We may need 3 groups. And we do practice to prepare for different competition. Everybody is welcome to our practices. You do not have to be on the team and to come to practices. Everybody is welcome. Wait until we do the final round and we announce who is on the team. If you don't make it to the team, but you like to come to some of the practices to improve your skills, just send us an email after the final round. We will add you to our email list. And anytime we send emails, we are meeting this day and time for practice, you will get those. And anytime you can join us, you are welcome to join us. Team members, of course, they are expected to come to practices to make sure we do well in the competition. All right, the coaches and I wish everybody good luck. We hope to see you in the tryout, and we look forward to having you on the team and going to different competitions with you. Again, good luck and thank you.